Good morning, everybody. It is January 6, 2020, and welcome to the new year. It is a new decade. Like I said, 2020. Can't wait to get this thing kicked off. This is the first episode of 2020, and I'm super pumped. Today, it's going to be just Justin and I on the podcast, which is, it's a good one. It is. But I'm going to tell you, it's a little different than the past 93 episodes that we've done. We're going into a lot of things that we want to change for next season, but we started off by talking about the things that we want to change as far as how we look at things and how we think about things before we get into them. So it's a pretty cool podcast, a little different though. I won't lie to you. It is a little different. Good conversation though, but we do get into some talking about different things we would change as far as hunting as well. So it's not all hunting talk, but there is hunting talk in here. So it's a good one. I hope everybody enjoys it. I do want to just kind of put a little disclaimer on this. Justin was having some issues with his audio on his end, so you're going to hear a little bit of feedback, some popping every once in a while. So just beware of that. You can still hear him clearly, but there's just this little pop noise. So just wanted to throw out a disclaimer there before we do get into this. Hope everybody has a great 2020 and gets this year started off on a positive note and keeps cranking it out. And hopefully this is the best year for you. And I know it's going to be the best year for me, so I can't wait to get it started. And with getting it started, let's get this podcast started. So I'm going to stop blabbering, kick it over to our conversation. So thanks, everybody, and have a good day. All right, we are back again with another podcast. Like every week, we try to do every week. I hope everybody had a great New Year's and Christmas. We took a week off. I felt bad about it, but, we need a break too.
Yeah.
So we decided to take a week off, and we're back, and it's just Justin and I today. This is episode number 94, so we are creeping up on the triple digits. Can't wait to see what we have in store for episode 100. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I got some ideas for it, but what's going on, man? It is January. It's 2020. First episode of the new decade. What do you think about starting the new decade? Like, is it kind of weird for you?
I don't know. It feels like it's like turning 30 again for the second time. It's like,
is it? Did you get pretty lit on New Year's? What'd you do?
Dude, I was asleep in my recliner by 9:30. I swear to God.
So you crushed New Year's then. You did New Year's the way it should be done.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing I did last year. I was watching Netflix, and we went out to dinner the night before and said, not dealing with it. That's how I know I'm old. I mean, I'm New Year's Eve and stayed home, watched Netflix in my recliner with the wife and the dog, and I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I walked upstairs, went to bed.
That's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen the ball drop in 2 years now, okay? So I go into New Year's. My buddy invited me and my wife over, and she had to work the next day, so she was like, you just go over and, hang out and everything. And it was pretty low-key. It was just him and his girlfriend, and we were just hanging out and bullshitting, haven't seen each other in a while, and we're watching TV. He's got Roku TV, and we're just watching, like, hunt shows and stuff like that, and drinking some beers, and we just got caught up in conversation, and this is no kidding. I looked at my watch, and it said 12:01, and I looked at them, and I said, Happy New Year's, guys, and that was it. That's it.
It's like you're at a
didn't watch the ball drop for
time just flew by.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And didn't watch the ball drop for the third year in a row, so I'm on a streak. I think I should keep this going.
Well, obviously it does the same thing every year from point A to point B, so it's what happens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. New year, 2020, which is cool because my favorite number is 20, so I just feel like this is my year. Even though 2019 was a pretty darn good year, I think 2020 is going to be even better.
I hope so, man. I think everybody has that hope, that there's got to be a better word than hope for it because it makes you sound desperate. But you just have that, that reset, you know, and it's like, okay, here we go.
Yep.
Let's do it better this time. Like it's never really like terrible, but you always want to try to say, hey, this time's going to be better. I'm going to be better. Work, life, you know, hobbies, kids, whatever the case may be. So it's just like that recharge feeling. So it's still fresh for right now, but it feels good.
Do you have a New Year's resolution?
I don't think I haven't like given myself one specific resolution, but there's a lot of things I need to change for the year or from here forward, I guess.
So I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I really, you know, they're always done after about day 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So if you can get past that, I think you're doing pretty good. But I did set 2 New Year's resolutions for myself this year. One, or I haven't failed yet. I can tell you that. I haven't failed. We're 4 days in. We're recording this on the 4th. So one was I'm not drinking any more pop. I'm going to try to take pop completely out of the spectrum because I drink way too much of it.
Also known as soda.
Soda. I usually say soda, but I think I'd get a lot of flack.
Yeah.
Being a Michigan guy saying soda. And the reason why is my dad always said soda growing up, so I said soda. So, yeah. So soda, I'm trying to quit.
Yeah.
And 4 days in, you know, I'm done with the shakes.
The shakes?
Yeah.
The shakes?
I mean, one day got pretty bad.
Is that because you usually put whiskey in your pop or what?
No. Yeah, you get a headache, you know, shakes kind of like I need that, you know.
Yeah, it's probably caffeine. I was craving it. There's probably caffeine withdrawal, to tell you the clinical truth.
Yeah. Yep. So 4 days in, I haven't had one. I'm feeling pretty good about it. The second one is I haven't failed at this either, and it was to just start working out. But the reason why I haven't failed at it yet is because I haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't failed yet.
Yeah.
But that's coming shortly. So I need a accountability buddy. I just stole that from Pat McAfee, and I think I need you to be my accountability buddy for working out.
Oh well. So you got an advantage though. Like you're an hour ahead of me, so.
Right.
I usually get up at like 5:30, and I'm at the gym by 6:15 or so. So by the time I call you, you're probably, I mean, you're back, like you're at a normal life still. So 7:30 is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when
I've started my day way before you already.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I'm not going to be working out in the morning. It's going to be an evening thing.
Oh, don't do that. It'll never stick, I'm telling you. You got to.
I know.
It changes you, man. Like, get up and get some pre-workout in you and make it the first thing you do. It changes your entire day. I'm telling you, I get more stuff done on the computer. Like, I get back home. I hate that I stare at a computer all freaking day long, but I come back home and I get more work done between 7 and 10 than I do from 10 to 5 the whole rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's probably
I can see
like
that.
It's probably like half the pre-workout still, you know, putting a little shimmer in my eye.
You're amped right up.
Getting me going, but I don't know, just you start the day off strong like that and you push yourself and you come back and I don't know, you're just ready to go. It's a good feeling.
Right. Yeah, maybe I'll have to start doing that. The thing is it's not that I'm not a morning person. It's I get up fine in the morning. I'm usually up by 6:30 because I don't have to be to work till 8. So I get up at 6:30 and usually I'm taking care of my daughter, get her to daycare, and I can usually be to work by 8 or 8:30. But I'm such a night owl. Like I stay up till 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock. So like getting up at 5:30 might be a little more difficult.
It is. You get used to it. It took me a long time. I bet you it took me honestly September. August and September is where it really tightened up for me. Between the mule deer hunt and then rolling into elk season, elk hunting for 30 days straight, like I got real used to functioning on 5 hours of sleep.
Right.
It stuck with me. Which is, I mean, I like that.
Yeah, I need to start doing it.
It's very, very hard to to make that the normal, but don't get me wrong. There's days I'm just like, screw it. I'm not going. But it's usually only about one day a week every 2 weeks or so. So
right.
that. That makes a lot of sense. 1 day a week every 2 weeks. So, yeah, 1 day every 2 weeks. Dumbass.
It's like 60% of the time it works every time.
Right. But, no, back to your resolution question. It's like, I agree with you. I don't really believe in a resolution either. I think it's just kind of an excuse to say, like, okay, here's a new chance. Here's another new chance. I don't know. I think if you need to have a reason to give yourself that chance, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I look at it. I never usually give myself a New Year's resolution, but I think I need to start making myself a little more accountable.
Yeah.
And just saying, damn it, you son of a bitch. Just get up and do it. Just go do it, you know? And 2020 is my year. I'm gonna kill 2020.
All right, man. I mean, this is recorded, so this is preserved forever.
I know.
It's going to live on iTunes.
I really have to do it now.
For all of eternity, so... You said you need accountability, buddy, so everybody that hears this, as of this moment, is your accountability buddy. Like, they can throw this in your face any given moment they want to.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's good, though. I mean, they should be throwing it to me on Instagram, too.
Yeah.
You know, listeners out there, I want you hitting me up once a week if you care to, just saying, hey, you know, were you doing your workout this week? Were you staying off the soda? Let's do it. Come on, let's all make ourselves a better group in 2020. I think we should do that.
Yeah, I'm game, man. Let's do it. I think I know who you need. You need to be doing laps in the pool with the Chris Kiefer Humanimal himself. Hit the links in the afternoon and just wake up, do some laps in the pool.
The thing is with Chris, though, you know, his daughter is, I think she's 12 or 13. So his daughter and my daughter are different. He doesn't have to get up and get her to daycare. He doesn't really have a lot of restrictions in the morning. And Chris is a morning person. He is the first one up, got his coffee, got his mountain ops in him, and he is ripping. He's ready to go. I will give him that. You know, and he's got a drive. And it's something to be said, like watching his stuff is like it's inspirational. Because he's just up doing it. He's like, get up, do it. And he lives by that be alive motto, you know, like no doubt he does. Like, I'm going to be alive today. I'm going to kill today. And that's the way I need to start looking at things. Like, I'm going to kill today. You know, let's take I'm not going to kill the year. I'm going to kill today. But at the end of the day, 2020 is going to be my little bitch.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
Well, that's what it's about, man. All those small successes that, you know, get you to the overall goal. I mean, and if each day is one of those successes, then you're doing it.
Talking about successes, though, and failures, that's what we want to get into today. Kinda. We're going to reflect a little bit on the year, both of our years, but I want to know where you think you went wrong this year. You know, you and I had both of us had good years in the hunting world of things. But I want to get into, like, you know, little things where you think you went wrong. You know, might have been scent control on one hunt, or I don't know, anything. It could be scent control. It could be, you know, not putting your stand in the right position, or, you know, not hitting record. I don't know. Let's get into that. I want to kind of reflect on the year, and because you and I haven't really talked about the nuts and bolts of that kind of stuff, and I think, you know, hashing it out a little bit might make us think of a different way of doing things. I don't know.
All right, well, I got one, and it's nowhere near like any of the examples you just gave. It's not about tactics or scent control or gear. It has to do with my job, my new job. It's taken me, what is it? I got hired in August, so September, October, November, December, 5 months to figure this out about myself. The biggest thing I did wrong was, I don't say I did it wrong. I guess it was kind of an awakening for me. Was I don't know what the right terminology is or how to explain this. In a way, I feel like I bit off more than I could chew in accepting this job. Like, by no means am I giving it up or do I regret being there, but for the first time I have a role with a company that requires me to be the one to make decisions regarding content and, you know, influence like marketing strategy and some of that higher level stuff in the hunting industry, you know, and not just hunting, but just in business in general. And that's something I never really had to do before. I was always just I was an Indian. I wasn't a chief. You know, I had deadlines. I had people that were submitting me footage. I just had the process. You know, I was the guy who was, here's what you have to work with. Make it this by this day. Deliver it. and you get paid. Like I was like,
and that's how our jobs usually work too.
Yeah, it is.
Because I'm the same way. I've been doing it the last 7 years.
Yes, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's been lucrative for both of us. We've been able to provide for our families, and that's been our thing. Like that's what our careers are. And like I said, I use the term like I bit off more than I could chew, and that's not really the point I'm trying to make. It's just I have a completely different role than I've ever had before, but I still have to be able to maintain that whole footage, edit, deadline, delivery schedule, but also do it in a way that influences the company's growth and strategy and marketing, strategy. And it was a lot. And to tell you the truth, I'm still adapting to that. So, I mean, as far as like a resolution goes, I guess it's more of a reflection for me to be able to see that and tell myself, like, you got to keep your shit together here. You're not just a camera guy in the field, anymore. You're not just going to push record and deliver a hard drive. Like, I am more of a producer now than I ever was before. And I think I started off kind of taking that for granted. And I think I let a lot of things slip in the beginning. Like I was still I was trying to be the hunter and the cameraman and deliver all this cool stuff. The harder I tried to do that, the more miserable and I'm honestly like epically failing it was for me. I spent way more time on the road this year than I ever have, more time away from the wife, and I just tried to cover a lot of ground. I had some really cool hunts, and at the end of the day, like, that came at the cost of, I think, kind of making a bad first impression with the new bosses. But and I don't mean bad like, like I was reprimanded, but I just feel like there was times when I could have done better at delivering what I said I could when I sold myself in the first place. I guess if I had to give myself a resolution of some kind or say that I wanted to change something or how I screwed up, I feel like that's how I screwed up. What I want to change is I need to change gears in my brain and be more business-minded, and keep that marketing strategy in place in the back of my mind, not just try to go out there and hunt my balls off and try to prove myself that way.
Well, and I want to go forward and say, too, you're not underqualified for anything that you were hired for, because in my eyes, you work your ass off and do a very good job at what you're doing on all facets. But it's funny to hear you say that, because the way that we're, restructuring Humanimal and Kiefer Brothers, going to Humanimal, it's kind of the same thing in a sense for me as far as how the mind works. I have to switch gears to be more business-minded as well. And it's hard to do that. I'll be the first one to say that with you, is like, you haven't had to think like that ever.
No.
I've never had to think like that.
It's a crazy different pace. Like, it's not even a pace. It's like you're thinking for a different purpose. Like, I'll tell you the truth, like, I guess like the right word is struggle. Like, I've been struggling with that for a couple months. Like, how the hell do I find this balance? Like, I don't want to just deliver product reviews and tutorial videos from my basement. Like, it's cool, it's easy, and like that stuff has value, but like I need to think bigger picture for the first time, and it's hard. There was always somebody else that was thinking that, just delegating work to me. And I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off there, but I kind of feel like we're going the same direction here.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think both of us can help each other on this, because we're going down the same path.
Yeah.
And the way I'm starting to combat it is I'm starting to broaden my horizons, as far as like, my thought process was always, need to get this edit out, get it published, or, I need to get the edit done, produce it first, get the edit done, get it to the publisher, and get it out and go on to the next. And it's just a conveyor belt. Do that. But where I've taken a step back from it, and I'm kind of like taking in micro steps until I can get to like second nature, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm more a sense like, okay, I'm trying to figure out a concept. Let's say I'm trying to figure out a concept for, I don't know, Matthew's bow. Okay. I'm trying to, think farther what is Matthews doing for this month when I want to publish this? Is this something that can coincide with something they're doing? So scouring that side of things.
Yeah.
And then going into maybe when's the next bow launch? Well, we know it comes in November. So it's like, let's gear something up for November. Let's put a concept through the hopper, see if it comes out the other side the way we want it to be. And then if it does, then we go create it. Then what's after the creative process? Like, how are we going to publish it? Where are we going to put it? And the thing is, I'm starting to get more into like, because we're trying to, go farther with our YouTube stuff, not only TV, but go farther with YouTube. So like, it's a new ball game for me to figure out how YouTube works. What are the different ways to be able to do that? And, after just looking at Googling some things, you find so many different ways of doing things, and it kind of opens my eyes a little bit more. But my biggest thing is just, I've even said it before, even on hunting, take a step back, look at the whole picture, because it's easy when you're at your desk and you're staring at a computer screen to get so tunnel vision. But it's like, take a step back, maybe even ask. I like asking questions, like confiding in other people, like, what do you think on this? Like, what do you have any ideas? Like, and it just it might give you a new perspective on things.
Yeah, no, it
that's
definitely
just
does.
That's the way I've kind of combated it, and it's been working so far. So
yeah,
I guess that's where I'm at with it.
No, that was a little bit higher level than, I'm gonna switch brands of scent killer spray. Like, honestly, dude, like it's. Yeah, you make that mistake, and you only make that mistake once, or whatever. Or if you want to move a stand, like, I'm sorry to listeners that it's not going to be, tech talk like that. But honestly, I'm not worried about that stuff right now. I'm worried about how to fall into this position and maintain my value with the people that pay the bills for me, and I want to be that guy. I want to be better at that kind of at that kind of a thing. With business and in general, like, it was one thing to have a DBA and just say, yep, this is my day rate. Where do you want me to go? Okay, what's your address? I'll send you the hard drive. That wasn't a lot of business, really, like, as far as, like, the overall grand scheme of a business. But this is major league for me, and it's the first. Well, Midwest Whitetail was the first that kind of gave me that feeling. But even at that point, like, there was still somebody else, saying, here's your show, here's your staff, here's your deadline. Make sure it's on YouTube by 8 a.m. and we won't have any problems. And now it's like, well, shit. Now I got to be like, okay, what do we want to put on YouTube? How are we going to get it? What's it going to cost? Who's going to go there? What are we going to get out of this? And that was like the biggest thing for me to say, oh my God, like, I don't know. They said, how much does it cost? Like, I just went to Arkansas on that duck hunt. Back at the end of December, right before Christmas. And it was like, what's it going to cost? And what are we going to get out of it? And I was like, well, it's a duck hunt. It's 3 days. It's half price from an outfitter. And I know the guy. He's a friend. It's a really good deal. And I couldn't answer him, like, when he asked me, what are we going to get out of it? And he was like, what the hell do you mean? Like, you're the content guy. Like, why are you asking me what I want? You're the one who wants to go on the hunt. Like, you're going down there to get the content. You tell me what you're going to get. And I was like, okay. Like, I can go down there and film
it's a little higher level.
Yeah, and it was kind of a slap in the face. And I was like, holy cow. Like, I don't know. I'm going to film it all 3 days, but what are we going to get out of this? Like, is it going to be comparison videos, like comparing to our competitors? Is it going to be testimonials? Is it going to be just a hunt video or what? I'm like, well, I don't know. Help me out here. Like, let's talk this through.
Well, and I think what would have been, and you could have done this. I watched your piece that you created, and it was badass. If everybody hasn't went to Base Maps YouTube and seen it, it's pretty freaking sweet, and I recommend you go watching it first and foremost. But second of all,
well, thank you.
I guess if I was put in that situation, I would have been like, how can I benefit from the map, in duck hunting? How are duck hunters going to be able to take this and be like, I need Base Map for my duck hunting excursions, and where I could take it from there, and you probably did that. I don't know. You and I didn't talk about it, but that would have been my first initial thought. Like, how are duck hunters, because I'm not a duck hunter. I've only waterfowl hunted 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can they benefit from using this, and what can I show them kind of thing.
And that's exactly what I kind of got into my head after we had that conversation, prior to me going. And, it was a 10-hour drive down there to massage that thought, but that's kind of what came out of it. And that first video you saw yesterday was one of 4 that's going out. I'm actually looking at it on my timeline right now in front of me, but I've got the second one about half done. And the more I got thinking about it as I was driving down there, I was like, I'm a deer hunter. Like, I don't know shit about duck hunting or goose hunting. And it's like, I got this guy from Illinois that we invited to go down, and that's all he does is, ducks and geese. He's into waterfowl like you and I are into deer. I mean, he deer hunts, but waterfowl is his thing. And it's like, here's somebody who knows what the hell he's doing with waterfowl hunting. He's also a damn good camera guy. And we're going to an outfitter in southern Arkansas after every bird in the country has already migrated down there. Like, this is going to be epic. Like, there's no reason this can't be. Like, we shouldn't have 10 videos coming back from this.
The best waterfowl hunt that you could have.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I want to talk to this outfitter because he's also a logger. And I was like, and he brought this up. Like, we got in that conversation in the blind of that video you saw yesterday. That's part 2, is him talking about how he uses it in his timber business, like between property lines and everything else. And I was like, dude, this is perfect. Like, I didn't even have to tell you what to say or ask your opinion, or I just said, have you used Onyx before? Yes, I have, and blah, blah, blah. But as a matter of fact, like, I just use it because I like hunting and it helps me in hunting, but it also helps me run my business as a forester, and here's why. And it's twice as long as why he uses it for hunting. And it's like, well, no shit, that's a pretty cool way to use it. Like, I never thought of anybody outside of hunting, fishing, mountain biking, hiking, camping, using it not only, as a recreational piece, but like helping you in your business and where you make your money. Like, that's cool. And I know I just said Onyx. Like, I specifically asked him if he's used Onyx in the past just to see what his opinion would be and how it compares to Basemap. But he went down the road of talking about how Basemap has helped him where he makes his money, and like that's his livelihood. This outfitting thing is, he does it on the weekends, with a couple of his friends as guides, and he has a lease, and it's just kind of a side piece for him. But I mean, he's a very well-known forester and logger in Louisiana and Arkansas, and he said it saves him 8 to 10 hours a week just to have that in his hand as he's marking timber and looking for property lines and, legal descriptions with owners' names, addresses, and all that stuff. Like, that saves him from having to leave the woods, drive to whatever township or county he's in, find the clerk's office, look at a plat book, get all that information, however long that might take in the office. He can pull his phone out and do it right there in seconds. And it saves him 8 to 10 hours a week. And over the course of a year, I mean, I don't even know what that equates to in 12 months. But I was like, that's a unique way to use this. And I never thought of that as being marketable for an app like Basemap. So I don't want to go down that road too far. But to go back to what started this and just seeing, what do we get out of this, like from a marketing standpoint for the company, it's like I didn't expect to hear that. I was trying to stay so focused on the hunt, but for me it was like,
well, and to me though too, sorry to cut you off there, but to me that opens up your thought process a little bit deeper.
Big time.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it gets the gears turning about, okay, how can I cater Basemap to not only hunters but loggers and other people? Because I don't know the first thing about what loggers do other than they can identify what trees are the most valuable, and then they go in there and select cut them or, cut them and get them and you make money off them. Literally, that's what I know. Yeah. So is there any way other features that you could put into Basemap that might help a logger, measure things out or identify trees or identify different things that he might not know? And that might help him crunch the numbers even that far, that closer, So everybody's making the most profit they can, client and manufacturer, I guess you could say. Is there a way that you could cater that? And that's I think we just created something there. That's something farther and beyond that nobody else has.
Yeah, and I asked him about that. Like that's exactly where my train of thought went when he started talking to me about it. And off camera, I asked him. I said, is there anything that you wish Basemap had to help you, streamline that process? Like you've already told me it saves you 8 to 10 hours a week. Is there anything that you'd like to see it have that could save you even more time or more money? And he told me, honestly, no. Like, we have 3D maps available on iPhones. He said between the 3D maps, you can have 3D and a topo hybrid, so you can actually see the topo lines with elevations on a 3D map so you can see terrain. He's like, you have all the contact for landowners. I can map out water bars. I can map out new roads, log landings. I know exactly who to call if we've got to do one calls to call about like buried phone lines or electricity or fiber optic. He's like, honestly, there's nothing else I need. Like everything is already here. And I was like, well, mic drop.
Yep.
I don't say, like, that's awesome.
But even if it's all there, now you have something now that you can go market to a new, a new, I don't know what the word is. I'm looking for a word here.
A new niche, a different market.
A new niche, like a non-endemic almost.
Right.
You can market to that, and there you've already boosted your clientele even more.
To take it 2 steps backwards, talking about like how I can help influence or like trying to figure out how to have that kind of a mindset. If stuff like that, those kind of conversations, if that's not product development and marketing and business development for that matter, I don't know what is. I mean, that was out of left field, but I mean, the light bulb came on in that conversation. I was like, this is getting deep. Like, I like this.
Well, and that now that trip was a success just because you pulled that nugget out that could be so much bigger than, that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, for sure. And I left there with a really good feeling because I was nervous as hell. Like, I felt like I was like not on a chopping block, but like the fact that I couldn't tell my bosses like exactly what I was going to come back with, for a trip that we paid for. And I was like, I know how this looks, and like I feel like an a-hole, but I don't know. Like I was nervous, and it's like I said, it's not just going on these cool hunts and filming and focusing on the production elements anymore. It's you better come back with something that's going to be tangible for the company, not just for a 10-minute video.
Right.
Like I can make a 10-minute video about teaching my dog how to sit. Like, who cares? It's just different now, man. I mean, I know you know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but it took me a long time to realize, like, I need to change a lot of the ways that I think about things now. And I don't know, like I said, it feels like I bit off more than I can chew, but I know I can chew it up and swallow it. I guess is
for sure
kind of the way to put it, but it had me freaked out, man. It really did. Like, I felt so much pressure and stress. Like, it was different.
But it almost takes that for me, and it wasn't like a failure moment, but you felt like a failure probably.
Yeah.
So it takes that failure point to be like, okay, this is the level I'm at. This is where I need to get here, and I need to keep growing. So I mean, you could take that as a positive.
Oh, for sure.
It's almost good that even though it made you probably look bad at face value, but what you took out of it grew so much more probably.
Yeah, no, it definitely did, and it was kind of it was just that little bump I needed, that little push, that kind of a turning point that made me say, like, all right, you got this, like, it's all good. And I got back here and I started editing this footage, and that video went out yesterday that you're talking about, and the bosses loved it, the CEO loved it, the outfitter loved it. Like, they actually gave me control of all the written content that we have going out now too. So written blogs, like all the photo assets that go with those blogs, like for the website, content across the board is my responsibility. So I kind of feel like I took the doubt out of their mind, I hope, and at the same time kind of made me feel good. Like, I was kind of proud of it, to be honest with you. I don't want to.
That's awesome, man.
Like pat myself on the back, but it was a good feeling.
That's great. And I want to stay on this. Like, we're talking about change now, so we're gonna switch gears of this podcast. Normally we want to talk, or initially we want to talk about, things that we did wrong and reflecting on the year, which we kind of are. But I want to talk about change, and I kind of want to bring in last deer season. So we're gonna reflect a little bit, but kind of, it's a new decade or new year, I should say, 2020, new decade also. But going into the new year, new hunting season, what do you want to change? Is there any big changes you want to make? And that could be anything, literally anything. The way that you do things, the piece of gear you have, like what's your biggest change that you want to do going into 2020 season?
This is going to probably sound kind of intuitive, but just to piggyback with everything we just talked about, because of how important it is that I stay focused on like business and more of the aspects behind helping the company overall. My focus for 2020 is to invest my time and my money into higher odds hunts. I took a lot of risks last year. Like I traveled a lot. I did Utah, Montana, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota. I can't even rattle them off quick enough, but I'm going to focus more on quality, not quantity. And by quality, I mean hunts that are going to make all those other marketing efforts and those investments from the company as far as like my time and my travel and all that stuff. Like I'm going to focus on the hunts that make it more worth it for them, regardless of how high profile those hunts might be for me. Like I just need to get to places that are easy, that I know I can go shoot a buck or a mule deer or whatever the case may be. If it's a fly fishing trip, whatever, like just go there, catch some fish, kill the deer, shoot some ducks, whatever the case may be. Who cares if it's a giant, and just kind of go with the flow and just not try to force so many things and just let stuff happen. I think that'll probably take a lot of the pressure off me and trying to make things happen. If I just kind of sit back and say, maybe a rut elk hunt by myself, self-filming isn't the right thing to do. Let's find someone who's hunting private land, who has history with this property, and invest 7 days where all I do is run camera instead of take the risk of Justin hunting by himself with a GoPro and a handy cam for 10 days, and seeing what happens.
Right.
Stuff like that. It's just, I need to be more aware and more conscious of the fact there's more at stake than just cutting my tags. So I'm going to find tags that are a little easier to cut, probably.
That makes sense. I mean, and that's why I wanted to know. Like, I wanted to identify those from you because I don't know if it's something that everybody really thinks about all the time. And how many guys really think about, what they think about what they need to change, but like right now it's fresh in your mind. Like what didn't work last year? That's what I need to change. Well, is all the circumstances going to be the same as they were last year? No, not really. Not all the time. So it's just identifying maybe a list of them and figuring out what you want to change and what you want to work on, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's always good to think about it.
Yeah, and it's just that higher level thinking that I've got to get used to, and it's I can't afford to take those risks. Not when it's it's putting bread on the table for me. I just got to get back to doing what I did and focus on camera work and come back and just crank it out in post. And I don't know, man, it's just different. This might go down another rabbit hole, but I'm gonna take the jump here. It's another thing I noticed about myself in 2019 was I got stuck in this this is gonna sound bad, but I don't mean it to sound negative towards anybody, but I got stuck in this this semi-live video blog style of shooting and editing. Like I got so far away from quality shots and quality editing that I feel like I'm having to learn it all over again because, that's what Midwest Whitetail wanted, was just that quick turnaround, like raw, dirty, no music. Like, I'm not saying they didn't care about quality editing because they do, but it's a different style. when you have to turn and burn so fast like they do, and there's a place for that, and that's their place. And
for sure,
for what I'm doing right now, that's not our place, and I need to be able to snap out of that. So that's part of the reason I want to just turn it down a notch and find those easy hunts, maybe spend more time with other hunters, not so much on myself, and just focus on quality camera work again.
You're not the only one either, though, man. I mean, we do the same thing. We get into that rhythm, like we need to turn things out. And then when we publish something, it's like it didn't go through the gauntlet of like, who let that go out kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like quick. And it's like, okay, we got to take it down and rethink the things, instead of taking a step back and just evaluating everything and asking other people, like, what do you think about this? So, like, there's a whole bunch of different opinions out there, but we both work with some talented and creative people, very creative, like some of the best in the industry. And it's like, use those assets. They're right at your fingertips all the time. Like, it's so easy to get down their rabbit hole. And we just had some big, long discussions within the last 2 months about that. And, going forward, what we're going to be doing, and we got a process in place now. And, hopefully that stuff doesn't happen, So I totally get it.
It's just one of those things you got to just kind of give yourself a reality check. And I've talked a lot about the new job so far, but that's really what did it for me, because it was a huge step up. And it's like I can't do what I did before and expect to keep the job that I just got.
Right.
It was a step up in a lot of ways, and I don't want to say it's like a new opportunity, but it's a new way of working that I have to adapt to, for sure.
No,
so
I get
I'm not just a trained monkey anymore. If that sounds right. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of grasping at straws here, trying to explain it, but
yeah, you're gonna be fine, man. You're gonna come out smelling like roses on the other side. Like I know it. But
yeah. But anyway, I feel like I've blabbed here for about 15 minutes. But back to your original question, what are you changing? Whether it's hunting or family or work, or like where are you at with this whole change process, or what are you looking at doing?
Well, I've spent some time reflecting on this last deer season, which was the best year of my life. I've said it numerous times, killed 2 really good deer, one deer of a lifetime. I'm so thankful about that. But I'm also looking at, the 1 acre farm. This is my baby. Like, I've hunted it, 4 years now, I think. This was the 4th year, I believe. But realistically, like, in those 4 years, I bet you I've only sat on that farm probably maybe 10 sits. Honestly, it's just not a lot because of the way things are laid out. You just can't sit there a lot. But going into this year, this 2020, something that I'm going to task myself with and change a little bit is, I try to be a little more passive a little bit on this farm, because it's a little different than a lot of farms. Can't really push in, but I think I'm going to be a little more aggressive. I had some, in the past, I've had some good deer on camera in daylight, and I wouldn't make the move right away. I feel like it was like, oh man, the wind is just not like there. Like, I could do it, but I probably shouldn't. Like, I'm going to start like that next level thinking, like, how can I make that happen? Do I go sit on the ground somewhere else where I'm still in the game, but still not going to blow things out? I think that's going to be one of the bigger things I change. And, going forward this year, I'm trying to develop a concept, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, but I want to develop a concept starting this off season about my goal next year is to kill a deer on 1 acre. That's the goal, with a bow. I want to kill a deer on 1 acre, some way with a bow. Now, it could be a doe. I'm not going to shoot a little buck, but I want to shoot, something within my means. Like, I want to shoot a 3-year-old still, and it could be a doe, though. But the season, I want to shoot a deer. That's going to be my goal, and that's what I'm going to work towards. And I want to document it throughout, the off season, what I'm doing, the changes of it, where I'm putting stands and everything, because I want people to see that, it could happen. And
yeah, and it can.
It might just be a doe, because a lot of people aren't fortunate enough out there to have, I know we have public lands, but I know a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to have a lot of ground out there, and I want them to know that it could happen on, 1 acre. So that's, I think, to go back to the question, what would I change? It'd be a little more aggressive and really take a goal and stick with it and try new things. Try some different out of the box. I've said it before, like, be out of the box, do some out of the box things, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try that this year, having a Kansas tag and an Iowa tag. I really didn't have a pulse on my farms here in Michigan this year. I really, honestly, didn't really feel like I knew what was going on, and I felt like it kind of hurt me. So next year I won't have an Iowa tag. I do know that. Might have a Kansas tag. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what tags I'm going to get next year yet. But I do want to make that a goal in the second, like a secondary change, and it could be even the first change, but I want to be better with my scent control. So, I feel like I get lackadaisical every once in a while, and I'm just not as good as I should be with it. So that would be the next big one.
Yeah, that's especially if you're going to try to hone in on 1 acre. That's your goal. That's going to be your focus. I mean, you need to tighten up on all those little things: scent control, stand placement, whether it's hunting on the ground. I mean, you might even find yourself in a saddle. You might be a saddle hunter.
I know.
This year, because you're going to have to get in trees that you can't put a stand. Who knows?
Well, and that's the thing I'm kind of fighting with right now. Like, in through November and now, like, you look at this 1 acre, and I know you haven't seen it yet, but there's not a lot of trees on it, and you stick out like a sore thumb. So, I did a lot of work with box blinds last year, and I got a box blind that you can hunt with a bow out of, and I'm almost thinking, like, there's a spot in the 1 acre that on the north end of it, I can put that box blind on stilts in there, and it's just moving it with the tractor from the farm, and just taking the time to move it and put it in there and be able to hunt out of that, because that gives me the cover I need, and I can get in there, it's airtight, and I can push some winds, I feel like. And I think that I'm thinking about it. But the only thing is I got to wait for things to freeze up, because in order to get that blind in there, I've got to get permission from the neighbors to get the tractor, just go down their hedgerow. It's just literally, right in the wind, or right in the fence row. You just got to be able to go down there and put the blind right in the woods, because it butts up next to the neighbors. So I got to get permission to do that, and I would have to move it this winter when everything freezes up, because crops will be going in obviously in the spring, and then you'll never be able to get it done. So I got to kind of move quick and figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, you're going to do minimal impact to the ground, like when you're in the tractor and dragging that thing out there, but and it goes back to some of the stuff that Jake was talking about last week. Like, it's that winter time, what do I do kind of a thought process. Like, number one, everything looks the same as it does, in November. Right now it looks the same way as it will in November next year. You're going to know, like, what's going to be in your way. You can cut shooting lanes now, for the most part, but you're going to have probably the same winds, like those predominant winds are going to be out of the north, northwest, northeast, whatever right now, and you're going to get a pretty good idea of how it's going to lay out for you next year. So it's...
Yeah, for sure. And like you said too, I mean, what did you say? It was even last podcast, I think you said it, when a 1 acre is literally a 70 yard by 70 yard piece of timber.
Yep.
So I've got a spot when I did some hinge cutting. It basically, the best way to describe it is, if you go in, so the neighbors runs like a long 80, and it butts up to the timber, the 1 acre timber. So if you go inside the 1 acre timber, probably, 15 yards, there is like a wall of timber that I've hinge cut. So it's like a blocker. I can push that blind up on, stilts that I have up against that, and I come in from the north, and climbing that blind, because all the deer on camera, I mean, I've got crazy amount of videos and pictures of deer in the last 4 years in this 1 acre, and they always come from the south. In the south, it'd be the south and the southeast. So they're always coming into me. Like, I know that. Like, hardly any deer come from the north because it's just wide open field. So I'm just trying to figure out ways I can get in there undetected and get in a stand where they can't see me, and I can still, and with that blind being there with a bow, I mean, where all the deer hang out, like the epicenter of it, the middle of it, it's only a 25-yard shot from there. So that's what in a perfect world, that's what I want to do. But a lot of stars have to align for me to be able to do that.
And that's something I was just visualizing as you were describing that. It's like, okay, if it's let's just say it's a perfect square. If it's a 1 acre square, that's all 4 sides are 70 yards long. That means on any one of those sides, if you went halfway across, so 35 yards, that means you can shoot to both sides to your 90 degrees left and 90 degrees right. You can shoot all the way across this thing. And if you put yourself as the center, like those little compass deals that draw circles like with a pencil, if you put that pointy part of that compass on your stand and you go to those corners and just pivot that all the way around from one side to the other, like your maximum effective range with your shots, like you're shooting more than half of that entire 1 acre.
For sure.
I mean, you just got to find the right tree to put it in, knowing how those deer are coming in there. And this is like totally out of left field, but like, okay, maybe there's not a tree in there. Go dig a hole. Go cut some straight ash tree down, like just limb it and plant that sucker, and then just hang limbs off of it for the sake of putting a stand in there. Like, you need a tree, you need a stand in there. Doesn't mean it's got to be alive. Go find a telephone pole. Go cut a tree down and drop it into a hole.
I thought about that. I thought about that too. Well, and and there's trees that I can sit in there too, but they're just bare as all bare. And actually, Jake, him and I talking off record, when he was up there helping me do the cutting, what he likes to do when he doesn't have cover in a tree is he goes and buys a fake Christmas tree. Those fake the fake Christmas trees that people put in their yard or their house. Yeah. And they come in sections, and he'll like cut those off and he'll hang them around him and makes cover. So that's another option too.
There's guys I filmed out here that do that. They just cut cedar limbs off, and they literally screw them into the trees like with 3-inch like framing screws. They'll take an impact gun in there and they'll lag it right into the tree, above and below their stand, and it sucked for filming because they wouldn't care. This is what I got to do. This is what I got to do to kill the deer. I'm like, well, if you kill the deer, it's not on camera. It's irrelevant. Like, I need to be able to see. Like,
yeah. Well, and it's going to
camera guy arguments you have, but people do that. I'm just telling you, it's not out of the norm.
Yep. Well, and it's going to take me just going back in there this winter and really taking a good look at all the trees and evaluating it. And I might even take sticks in and climb the trees, just to get up a certain distance and looking at everything and be like, I could get in here. What would I have to do? And I'm trying to do it on a budget too. I don't want
the perfect idea.
Anything.
This is totally out of the realm of North American tactics. Dig a freaking pit blind in there. Like, you got your food plot in there, wherever you want to hunt. Dig a hole and put a box in there, just like they do in Africa. So, like, when you're standing up, you're at ground level. You're actually shooting up at the animal.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, brush it in on the top, leave your window open to where it would be like shin height if you were standing in the plot, and shoot out that way.
I could definitely do that. The only thing is the root system in the timber might be difficult.
Well,
dig a hole.
Technicality.
Yeah. It's going to be definitely something I'm going to look into, though. Honestly, I think the easiest thing is going to be getting the front end loader out there. And the blind is already on the corner of the 1 acre. So it's literally picking it up and moving it 50 yards, 80 yards to the east and placing it in there and getting it anchored down. Like, that's all it's going to take. But I have to do it this winter because it's going to be frozen, where we can drive on the fields and not ruin anything.
Yep.
So we'll see. It's either that or I'm going to hang a Millennium somewhere and try to figure out a way to create some cover. I mean, that's the next thing.
Are they the blinds that you built this year? The ones you put on those wooden platforms that you painted?
Yep. So I got the one I'm going to move in there is an octagon. It's all green, steel roof, and it's got bow windows. I can shoot a bow out of all the windows, tinted windows, so you literally cannot see in it. It's beautiful. It's an awesome blind.
Nice. I remember you sent me pictures of them when you were building them this summer.
Yep. So we'll see.
This has been a good one, man. I like this conversation. I hope listeners like it.
Hopefully we didn't lose like all 6 listeners we have.
Oh, I think there's a few more than that. I think
there is. We're creeping up on a milestone right now, though. We are. There's something I haven't even told you. We got a lot of downloads have come through in the last year and a half. March will be 2 years. This podcast will be live, so it's crazy, but a lot of downloads, and I can't thank everybody listening out there enough. And hopefully, we're bringing you some content that everybody likes. And Justin and I have been spitballing amongst ourselves about new guests that we can have on, not only just like successful deer stories, but out of the box thinking things. And we've got some good ones coming up, and I'm pumped about it. So
for sure, man,
2020 is going to be a good year for the podcast and all around. So I'm excited for everybody to listen to all these new episodes, and it's just going to be fun. I love doing this. So hopefully everybody can bear with us through this.
Yeah, for sure. To bear through it is an understatement. I don't know. I feel like I don't do enough. You do so much to line up guests, and like I brought some people in, but I don't know. We've got some really good guests coming up in the coming weeks that we both have brought up. But honestly, dude, like I just said, I'm going to try to focus on quality hunts, and here I am. I've got 2 on my plate that I'm trying to execute in the next 4 weeks, and I don't know how it's going to happen.
Yep. But you'll make it happen. You will, and you'll be successful at it. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters how you want to measure success. I mean, you're going on a cat hunt. That's for sure, right? You're going on a cat hunt?
It's not 100%. It's like 90. We've talked about it, my buddy and I, and we're both kind of, he said, he's like, I'm going to call you. He's like, I have time off in January and February. And he said, I'm going to call you and tell you the weather is perfect and you need to be here within 48 hours. I'm just praying to little 8-pound, 9-ounce baby Jesus that I do not get that call when I am at one of the 3 trade shows I'm scheduled for between now and February 16th.
Oh, it'll happen, though.
Oh, I know, and we got ATA coming up this weekend in Indy. I'll be at that, and then I'm going all the way out to Seattle for 5 days at the end of January here. So I'm home for a week after ATA, then I go to Seattle for a week, and then I've got a week and a half off, and then I go to Portland, Oregon for another one. And then from Portland, I go straight to Salt Lake City to the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo. So I literally have 2 weeks in January that I can make the cat hunt happen.
Yep. You'll make it happen.
I don't know how it's going to work, but like I said, 8-pound, 9-ounce little baby Jesus, I'm praying.
Well, speaking of ATA, though, switching gears a little bit, you and I were talking about hopefully you can get on the, in between meetings that you're going to be having, get into some gear. And,
yes,
I want to do, we both want to do a podcast afterwards explaining some gear that you tested out. And maybe it's a bow that you shot or some arrows that you found or something cool. ATA, for everybody out there that doesn't know, it's the Archery Trade Association. So a lot of a lot of new products in the archery world get launched at this show. So, I mean, Justin and I were talking about it. We're in the industry, and we haven't even heard the buzz of anything. So,
no.
I mean, there could be some big things going on, or there might not be much. So,
No,
I'm excited to see.
The only thing I know that's new is all the bows that everyone else has already seen. The VXR, the RX, the VXR, the RX4, all the primes. Like, everyone's seen the bows. You know, it's not old news, but that's the only thing I've even caught wind of as far as new products go. But
well, and to foreshadow that a little bit, we're going to have a guy on from Bowhunter Planet here soon as well. Bowhunter Planet, they do like a battle royale of all the bows. They get all the bows in and they test them all out and get all the specs and everything. We're going to have him on sometime in the near future talking about all those bows, and I'm super pumped about that, to pick his brain, because they take these bows to the gauntlet. So I'm excited about that. But extra stuff, I mean, you're going to be able to play with all the toys down there. I'm not going to be able to be at ATA. The only show that I'm hitting this year is SCI in Reno. So, and I was hoping you were going to be there, but you're not going to. So,
two of our guys are going to be there, but they don't need me at that one. So,
of course.
Hey, that's fine. That's one of my weeks open for the cat hunt. But I haven't told you this yet, but I'm trying to work in a trip to Arizona. Like, there's the southern Arizona, all that public land. It's archery only, over-the-counter deer tag, good for coos deer or mule deer. There's javelina, just a smorgasbord of game for archery out there on public land for a pretty cheap price. But that's one of those things, like, I don't want to push it, because then I'll get out there and the guy will call me from New Mexico, and I'll just be like, well, shit, now I got to drive all the way up to New Mexico from Arizona.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm trying to weigh my options here. I'm not trying. Like I said, I'm going to stop forcing things into existence, and just whatever works.
Yep.
So I don't know. I will tell you this though, as far as gear goes, it's something else I haven't told you. I'm speaking of these like higher odds hunts, I'm gonna try to do a little more gun hunting next year. I'm gonna rely on the gun a little bit more than the bow, I think.
You gonna get the boomstick out a little bit more?
I bought a new one.
Oh, what'd you get?
I bought the man bun of rifles.
The man bun? The librarian of rifles?
Yep. I am part of the 6.5 club.
Oh man, I'm jealous. Casey just got a 6.5, and it is probably the baddest gun I've seen.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. I went with the big boy 6.5, the 6.5 PRC. It's kind of the 6.5 mag, if you will. It's
So you're like the guy that rolls up with an 8-inch lift in his truck, offset tires, has a small wiener, and just has to overcompensate for things.
Well, only one of those things is false. I'll let you and listeners decide which one it is. But I was like, you know what? I love my 308, but it weighs about 14 pounds. Like, I towed it on the bear hunt. You know, it's whatever. I've had that gun for like 15 years, and this is the first new rifle I've bought since then. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go big. You know, screw it, whatever. And it's hard to argue with the ballistics, all the numbers, and like all the buzz around a 6.5. And then Hornady chambered the 6.5 PRC last year for the first time, and I mean it's effective out to a mile. Like at a mile range, it's got the impact velocity of a 9mm at point blank. So it's effective. Not that I will ever kill an animal at a mile away, but
I was gonna say people don't take vacations that far.
No, I have no intention of that. And if that was the case, I would admit to all those things you just mentioned a second ago, but that's not happening. So it's I don't know. It's one of those things, like you buy it, you spend the money up front once. Like, I got the gun on the way. I already have the scope. I got a brand new a Zeiss V4 for it. So it's my dad got me some Brownells gift cards for Christmas, and I don't know. I'm just gonna outfit myself with a good rifle that's lightweight, packable, and dependable, and I'm just gonna It's gonna be my new go-to gun. So
do it up, man.
I'm sorry. So tell me about Casey's 6.5. I didn't mean to
talk
you down.
It's no big deal. It's a sweet looking gun though. It's those 6.5. He's got a 6.5 Creedmoor, and man, they're just a bad little gun. We shot some deer with them in Kansas this last gun season, and man, do they do some damage. And people will be able to see that on Humanimal coming up here on the YouTube channel and on Sportsman channel, Q3 and 4. So it's just a sweet gun, and they're hard to get a hold of. And when you can get a hold of them, they are pricey. So
yeah, no, I know it's.
But
I went with a Bergera Highlander, and I don't have as much money tied up into my bow or anything like as I do in this gun, and I'm not going to say how much it is because I just feel like an idiot. But it's one of those things like you get it, and once it's built, it's done, and it's not like it's a house. It's not going to depreciate, or your car. It's going to last. So that's how I look at it. And
right, yeah.
I don't know. I don't mean to justify spending stupid money, but I'm happy.
You don't have
with
kids
it, so.
yet, so just do it right now.
You what?
I said you don't have kids yet, so just do it right now.
Exactly. So, whatever. The wife was all for it. She was very supportive. She was there when I made the down payment, and she was like, "Hell yeah, get it. That's awesome." That's all right.
Fun. That's fun that she's on board.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Anyway, it's been like an hour and a half, I guess, now, so.
Let's wrap it up. People are getting bored right now. They shut us off already. They didn't even hear this part, but hopefully the ones that are diehards are staying on. But I do want to wrap it up by saying thank you to everybody out there supporting the Fall Podcast. And like I said, there's bigger and better things coming in 2020. We've got some awesome guests, some awesome content coming. I'm fired up about it. I'm excited. I can't wait for everybody to hear it all and, hopefully learn some things and get some laughs out of it. And I'm super stoked about it. I know Justin is, and I say it a lot, but if you could please, it goes a long way. If you go to iTunes or go to Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to this, hit the 5-star rating, please. That'd be great. I'm pleading, begging. Going to be on my knees here in a minute. Hit the 5-star rating and leave some feedback. There's a comment section right there. You could say, these guys suck if you want. I don't care. Or you could say 3 words like,
I love you.
I love you. Or you could say 4 words or say, they're badass. Like, I don't care. Just say whatever. We both would appreciate it. It goes a long way. And that's, I guess, all I got to say. But it's getting late. It is January 4th.
There's going to be a lot of people driving to Indianapolis here in the next 3 days, so hopefully you guys have stuck with it. And if for some reason you recognize my ugly mug, flag me down, say hello, we'll catch up. And I don't know what else to say about it.
For sure, flag him down. He's bald. He'll have a hat on, glasses, and he's got a big black beard. Skinny.
Yeah, I'm like the bald Abe Lincoln. The 5'11" bald Abe Lincoln.
There you go. Ask him that. Just go up to him and say, Justin, I want to rub your head. That's all.
Yeah, sure.
Make it weird.
Yeah, make it real weird.
All right, man. Well, let's sign off here. Appreciate you doing this. We're on here BSing. It's been way too long. Get some sleep tonight. Wake up early morning and let's grind. Keep hammering. Let's do it.
I'm going to call you at 6:30. You're going to the gym.
I'm not going to the gym in the morning.
Yeah, I knew it. I know. See,
I'm
accountability, buddy. I'm already failing.
Accountability buddies.
Yeah.
And there it is. A little different conversation, I do know. Hopefully everybody stayed along for the whole time. Appreciate it if you did. And I just want to reiterate, thank you for the support. 2020 is going to be epic for the podcast. We got a lot of cool guests coming on and some different topics than we've done in the past. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's all going to be whitetail related, so don't think we're just going to be doing off-the-wall topics. It's not going to be that. Whitetail and outdoor related, so I'm pretty pumped about it. Hopefully you are as well. Thank you for the support again. I'm signing off. Hopefully your 2020 is going to be awesome. Thanks, guys.